Welcome one, welcome all to our last meeting of the year. This will be a good one. Mr. Dehaney, we're ready to go.
So, Mr. Mayor, this is the most exciting presentation of the year. This will be the big this will be the big reveal of the city's annual audited financials, and the presentation will be kicked off by Wendy Yu, who is our interim finance director, and then Cherry Beckert, who is the audit firm that did the audit, will also follow up after Wendy. Followed by Shelby Brown with Cherry Beckert will be Kevin Kabasa, the city controller, who'll give an overview of the city's overall finances. So the next voice you hear will be Wendy Yu, interim finance director.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and member of City Council. I'm Wendy Hu, interim finance director. It is a pleasure to be here today to present the result of FY25 audit. With me, we have Shelby Brown, audit manager from Cherry Beckert, and also Shannon Ward, senior associate from Cherry Beckert, and also Kevin Kabasa, city's controller. We will begin with Ms. Brown's presentation, followed by Kevin Kabasa's overview of FY25 audit financial result. Before we start, I want to sincerely thank everyone to make this audit successful. First, I would like to thank for the City Council for your continued leadership and unwavering support of a strong financial policy. To the City Audit Office, thank you for your partnership and for your thoughtful oversight you provided throughout the audit process. Before you is the city's FY25 comprehensive annual financial report. Producing this 276 document is a significant undertaking. It reflects the outstanding dedication and also expertise of finance department staff. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read each name. I will express my sincere appreciation to everybody who contributed to this achievement. And also I want to recognize City Department for your cooperation and support during this audit process. With that, I'm pleased to turn over to Ms. Brown.
Hello. Thank you
Welcome.
thank you for having me here today. My name is Shelby Brown. I'm an audit manager at Cherry Beckert, and I manage the City of Virginia Beach fiscal year 25 annual audit. So we have audited the financial statements of the City of Virginia Beach for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, and we have issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, and our report was issued December 4th, 2025. An unmodified opinion is the best opinion that you can receive on your audit. It is a clean opinion. We also performed our audit under government auditing standards and the Commonwealth of Virginia's Auditor of Public Accounts specifications for audits of counties, cities, and towns. And we are happy to report that we identified no instances of noncompliance required under either of these standards. We also identified no material weaknesses in internal control over financial reporting. Regarding this uniform guidance audit, the single audit is currently in process. The OMB compliance supplement was issued at the end of November, so we will issue our single audit once we are able to complete those procedures. We plan to issue a report on the compliance for each major federal program, and the report will be on the internal control for compliance in accordance with the uniform guidance. We are happy to report that we encounter no difficulties during our audit, no disagreements with management as we performed our audit procedures. We did not have any instances that required us to seek outside counsel to perform our audit procedures. And we have requested certain management representations in our representation letter, which is dated December 4th, 2025, which is the same date of our audit report. Additionally, we are not aware of any instances in which management sought outside counsel for the audit procedures. And any discussions that we had were in the normal course of business with management as we progressed through our audit. And as of today, we are not aware of any fraud or illegal acts affecting the city during this time. And then lastly here, we are not aware of any matters that indicated a substantial doubt about the city's ability to continue as a going concern. Now I'll open the floor for any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions at all? Okay, Worth.
Quick question, because it looks really good. Do you have any recommendations on anything? Not that I'm looking for any, but
The main recommendation would be to just continue strengthening internal controls. As I mentioned, the internal control procedures at the city are pretty tight, but we just always recommend to continue looking for areas of improvement where you can strengthen those controls.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I know that.
Okay, cool. So,
I was just thinking,
cool.
I know we're gonna be here for a while.
So now the most exciting part will be Kevin Kilbasa, the city's comptroller.
Hey, Kevin, good to see you.
Good morning, or good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. As we said, I'm Kevin Kilbasa, I'm the city controller. I'm here to present the audited financial results for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025. It's a good thing that we didn't get any more snow than we did last night and had to cancel the meeting because we're required to present it to you guys by Code of Virginia. So we could have worked out where we could have had to call a special session, but we're here. So we're glad to present it. And just to let you know, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, after the presentation, I have a confirmation sheet that you guys need to sign, just saying that I was here presenting it to you.
Government at work.
well, so saw that now. Oops.
It does, it was just,
You're bringing it up.
there we go.
All right.
Okay, before I get started, I too just wanted to take a second to acknowledge the staff that we have up in the accounting office and finance. They did a wonderful job helping us get this report together, all the support staff as well, the communications office for their help with, you'll see a wonderful picture of our dome on your front cover of the capper or the ACPR. So just what we're going to go over today, we're going to do an overview of the audited financial results. We're going to talk about the net position, which when you think about a for-profit business, that's your version of the equity. Assets minus liabilities is your net position. We're going to go over the general fund, do a budget to actual results, talk about our unassigned fund balance and where that is. And then we're going to do a look at the city's 4 enterprise funds. So what those are self-supporting funds that provide services to the residents. So we'll talk about those as well. Before going into 25, just revisit our last FY24, ACFR and PAFR, they both received the Achievement of Excellence from GFOA. So there's 3 awards that GFOA does for the ACFR, for the PAFR, and also our budget. The city has received the Excellent Award in all of those, also known as kind of the Triple Crown is what they call it. So getting into FY25, looking at the statement of net position for all city funds, the total assets increased in FY25, $117 million. Majority of this assets being cash, we have a total cash of about $1.8 billion citywide, and total capital assets of $5.3 billion. So total assets on the city being about $7 billion. Looking at the total liabilities, they went slightly down from last year, down about $75 million. This related to paying off certain debts. So looking to it, total net position for the city in FY25 was $4.7 billion. Majority of that making up of our capital assets. Going into the general fund, just focusing highly on that, total budget of a little over $1.4 billion for our general fund. Actual collections were $40.4 million over budget, or roughly 2.7%. Total budget expenditures about 1.6 billion, and actual coming in slightly under budget, 148 million, or about 9.1%. So if you look at that, we were expected to have a use of fund balance of $116 million, but through the revenue being over budget and expenditures coming in under, we actually increased our fund balance by 74.1. So looking at it, the ending fund balance of 442 million, we had total reservations of 263, and we'll go over all of those and what those come up to. That leaves us with our total unassigned fund balance of 178.4 million, or 11.5% of the FY26 revenue. So we know that you guys have the policy that unassigned fund balance must be between 8 and 12%. So we are meeting that policy right at the top range at 11.5. So going over those reservations I was talking about, so we have part of our fund balance is made up of inventories and loans receivable. You back those out. We have restricted funds from the federal government for Community Services Board. Those get put aside because they have to be used for that specific purpose. We have the school reserve fund that gets reported in the general fund in the ACFR, so that balance of $24.4 million is reserved. The school reversion and the school true-up totaling about $45 million. Carry forwards and encumbrances from the prior year. And then the flood protection fund that gets reported in the general fund, that's about $80 million of cash that's sitting in there, so that's part of your reservations. Then other uses in the 26 budget for capital projects and for other uses of fund balance. And so that brings us down to that 178.4 million, or that 11.5%. So I like to show this. This is about a 10-year history of where that unassigned fund balance has been. We see those green lines representing that 8 to 12 window that we like to keep it through. We see that peak that it took in 2021 during COVID. It went down to our lowest point in those 10 years, and then went back up, and now it's starting to come back down again as we continue to use the fund balance to help meet our needs as they arise. So just to give you a little bit of more deep dive into some of those revenues for the general fund, like I had mentioned, they were 40.4 million over budget, or 2.7%. With that too, you have the school revenue sharing formula, so how that 7.5 million of that revenue sharing formula was made up. Everything from the other local taxes and up is what's included in that revenue sharing formula. So we were about $15 million over budget with that, meaning that $7.5 million went to the schools. Just looking at some of the other taxes, you have our meals tax. That was $62 million in the general fund, but it was $98 million citywide. It gets allocated out to different funds, so there was $98 million in meals tax. Hotel tax, citywide, $52 million. And then one of the other important ones to look at is your interest revenue. We see in the general fund that it was $28 million of interest revenue and $42 million citywide. So when we're talking about we have $1.7 million or $1 billion of cash, we're generating about $42 million of interest on that through the course of the year. And then one other item, the federal revenue, see it was 4.8 million over budget. That included money that we received from FEMA for COVID that we spent a few years ago. So we finally got back that from them. Looking at the general fund expenditures and how they're broken down, majority of those transfers to the schools makes up the largest expenditures. We have salaries and then other operating expenses. So you can see how they compare to the prior year. Looking at the enterprise funds, like I had mentioned, you have our two biggest ones, the water and sewer and stormwater. When you look at these, you need to know that this includes a CIP portion of it. So all those CIP cash that the water and sewer and stormwater has, that's included in this statement of net position. With those two funds, the majority of them, of the assets, are capital assets, of course, our infrastructure that we have built for those. You see that it has bonds payable for the debt that it has outstanding. And mentioning too that with them being self-supporting funds, they also have liabilities for pension and OPEB. When looking at the total net position, the unrestricted net position is similar to like the unassigned fund balance that I was talking about. So you can see here that all 4 of our enterprise funds are doing well. Just a quick highlight of the statement of revenues and expenditures for those enterprise funds. You see the charges for services. Those are those fees that I was talking about from the citizens. You have the operating expenses taken off, interest expenses, interest income, and that's coming down to the changes in net position for those enterprise funds. Looking at some of the long-term debt annual payments that we make, we retired principal of $105 million last year, with interest on that of 43.2. The city pension was $82.3 million, so that's what the city is contributing to VRS for our employees. And we see that increased about $10 million from the prior year. Those rates are set by VRS, and they do a study every 2 years to determine what those contribution rates are. So that went up, so that's why you see that increase there. We have the OPEB expenditures for both city and schools. Those have stayed pretty constant for the past 2 years. With that being said, I will take any questions that y'all might have.
Any questions for Kevin? Barbara and
Could we
Ward?
just have those slides printed off for us?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, Ward?
So thanks, Mr. Cope, for the presentation and for the work. Page 13 is just the prior screen, the principal and interest. So we're paying off really principal. That's total principal there paid off, and then the interest below. It's not so, okay. That's a lot of principal paid off in 1 year.
Right.
Out of how many, what would be the total?
About $1.5 billion when you include city, and we know the school's debt is showed in our books as well. So it's about 1.6 billion, with about 300 million of that being schools related.
And that's due primarily to, because of the way we pay the bonds.
Correct, yes. So they're not, schools aren't allowed to have any debt on their books. It has to come from the city. So that's the same way across the state.
Okay, Josh? And then,
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Kibasa. It's always great to hear from you. And just to follow up on Councilmember Remick's question, we retired that principal of 100 million, but are those ongoing interest obligations, or are those interest obligations associated with the principal retirement?
With that principal retirement,
Okay.
yep.
And then just one other thing. I mean, I know, we deal with thick budgets and lots of information, but when the public hears that we have $1.8 billion of cash, I was hoping that you might give some context around that. Whether that is a responsible amount of cash considering our overall expenditures, what we need that cash for, just so that everybody has a little bit better handle on that, who's watching. And then I also wanted to point out that this is, I think, the second or third year I remember that our interest income has overperformed. And I think that's a testament to staff, and I also think to the treasurer's office who is managing those investments. So I was hoping that you might be able to speak to those.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with the interest one. That is, yes, the treasurer's office does manage our investments, and of course, they're limited in what they can invest in. Of course, it's public funds. We have to be very risk adverse to what they do. But yeah, the return that they're getting on the money right now is fantastic. I mean, it's kind of the same thing if you would look at the return rate of like a CD. A lot of stuff that they invest in is things like that. So that they're seeing highs that they've never seen before, that helps the city as well because we can invest in those. So yeah, that is a lot of money that they are able to come up for us and do that investing for.
That 1.8 billion.
Yep. So that 1.8, so that's broken down in a lot of different funds. So looking at just the general fund by itself, that's a little over $300 million in cash. So that's part of that unassigned fund balance will be a part of that. So having that within that policy, we know the cash that that general fund has is sufficient because it helps meet that unassigned fund balance. A lot of the other ones are in the capital project funds. So that's the cash that we've mostly paid because we know that whenever we go out For debt, we do that on a reimbursement basis. So the cash that we have in there is cash that we have provided for those funds to meet those project needs. And then we go out and seek reimbursement on those.
So that's what we would call PAYGO.
Correct, yes.
Essentially.
And then you've also got some enterprise funds. So there's a lot of other of that cash, like our OPEB trust fund that we have, that's close to $80 million. So that's not something that we really have access to, but it's part of our cash portfolio. So there's a lot of stuff in there that we don't really have access to, but it's just included within the cash. I'd be happy to provide kind of a breakdown of where all that money comes from and where it sits.
Okay, anybody else? Hutch? Yes.
So with the pension, the city pension and the school pension, because there are a lot of things you were showing, like percentages of where we should be or shouldn't be. And I think you said, I mean, I know that the VRS sets that every year, right, as to where we are. But are we, again, for the general public, is this a good, were we in a good spot there? Is that the 82.3, 77.5, does that feel reasonable?
Yeah, so when VRS sets it, they look at what they call the unfunded liability percentage, and we're typically right around that 80 to 82%. So the rate that they set is a combination of what you need to meet the current needs and also a amortization of paying off that unfunded liability.
Okay.
So they do a study every 2 years looking at what the value is of our assets and liabilities for that pension and come up with what you need, what that percentage needs to be to meet that. So yeah, I mean, we've kept our unfunded portion right around, or the covered portion about 82% for the past 5 or 6 years. So that's really a recommended amount.
That's what I want, yeah.
Yep.
And then you had the slide up a minute ago, it was 11 point, I think you said our funds left residual. Which slide, I'm not sure which one that was.
So that, was it the unassigned fund balance one, or probably this one?
Whatever, I'll just ask you. You said it was between 8 and 12 was the two percentages that you were
Unassigned fund balance.
trying to shoot for, and that we were at like 11.5, I believe.
Yes.
Just for an education point for myself and for others, let's say you come in at 7.5 or you come in at 12.5. What happens? What's that mean?
So it's a policy that City Council has adopted to be within that 8 to 12%. We've had years, like you saw, we've been above it. So then that would mean kind of towards the next budget process, you want to look at how you can use that fund balance to kind of bring it down. In the same way of where if you're under it, then you're going to want to look at how you don't use as much fund balance the next time.
So pretty simple once you understand it, and then if you're above it, you might use it to buy more apparatus or be whatever, okay.
You never want to be below it, right? Because all this stuff ties into the city's bond ratings, right? So if you're below it, then it shows that you're not meeting your commitments, and also puts them in a place where they're worried that if you need to meet your obligations, you won't be able to meet your obligations, right?
Right, and so sitting here week after week, you start to see where like the triple bond ratings from all three rating agencies having this come in, this is why feeding into the other. Okay, thank you.
So the big thing that council needs to understand is like the rating agencies, we're AAA, and we have a lot of great positives. We also got some challenges because we're a big organization. And not only are we trying to grow, but we're also focusing on recapitalization, right? So we borrow. I think some folks say we borrow a lot because we got a lot of stuff to do, right? And the reason why we're AAA is because we keep a solid unassigned fund balance and we pay off the principal in such a quick, fast way, right? We tinker with that form a little bit, then it may change outlooks on how they perceive the city from a bond rating standpoint.
So that's what you're doing. I mean, where credit is due, right? Is like you're running the machine at a very high rate and a very efficient rate to get the best we can out of all sides, right? That's good. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Right, I just want to thank you for, this is stellar work. Running a city the size and magnitude and complexity of Virginia Beach with all the operation departments and all the needs and capital needs, operating needs. We are very fiscally sound, but the work that you do is very complicated, but you make it very simple with the efficiency. And I think it's reflected in our bond rating. I think we get recognition for being a very well-managed city with finances and everything. And it takes a lot of the hard work that your department does to do this. But I'll tell you what, kudos to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're on to discussions, initiatives, and comments. Anybody? Must be the last meeting. Oh, okay, Barbara.
Well, last week I told you that we had a very well-attended district meeting and on Monday of last week. Well, we had the district forum on Thursday, and it also was very well-attended. And I'm so encouraged by the number of people who come very excited and who want to be more involved. But what I'm hearing is that they don't feel like they're having an opportunity to be involved, particularly early on when we're making plans. They don't want to be just the last stop at a perfunctory public hearing about a plan. They want to be a part of the development of the plan. One of the people who attended recalled being in the one of the breakout groups when we did the first ITA transition area plan, when we just asked the people, what do you want? And I think that's what we maybe are not doing with our people quite enough early on in the process, and saying to our people, what do you want? And I hope that we will be able to work on that. We did get a lot of concern about the Virginia Beach National Golf Course RFP and how that was done, maybe getting ahead of the public and even thinking that we might want to sell that property. There was a lot of concern about that process and what we're going to do with it. I know that we have made no decision, but I think we really need to back off on that and start over. I think the fact that it did raise so much concern kind of shows that we got ahead of the people when we even put some of the possibilities in the RFP. So I have had some really well-attended sessions in District 2, but what it tells me is our people want to be involved, and they want to be involved in a meaningful way. They don't want to be blindsided by something that they weren't even thinking about, which is kind of what happened with the golf course. They want transparency, and they want to be participants. And I think that's a good message for us going into a new year, particularly a year when we're going to be looking at some pretty heavy things early, such as our comprehensive plan update and looking at at some of these other things that we have on the table. So I just want to emphasize that citizen participation is something that we need to make sure we're allowing early in the process and allowing it in a fashion that's meaningful to the people, that they really feel like they have something worthwhile to offer and they want to be participants. I think we had almost 40 speakers under our open mic night last week, and those folks were very well informed, and they're following what's going on, believe me. And I think that's encouraging for us, and I look forward to the new year.
Yeah, thank you. And if I can, just comment that Mrs. Henley and I agree with her 100%. But I think what I've been seeing, quite frankly, is that almost every district council people are holding meetings and, getting input all over the city. And I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Manager, the fact is we did get a couple unsolicited, suggestions for the golf course, but then we decide to put out a public RFP, which disclosed a lot of what was being considered, and that we did, opportunity for people to have the input on it. And then once again, even during the budget process with the public hearings, but I think with all the district council folks, going out there and, meeting with their districts and even collaborating with each other and, doing things. We certainly have, the public forums. And, I remember even when I was a district guy, when we had that controversial intersection on Kempsville and Indian River, I think we had a number of charrettes about that. And then even when we were talking about Atlantic Park, there were 65 public engagements, before we even started with the term sheet. So, but once again, we welcome the public. It's part of our action plan and everything, and going into the new year, especially with the challenges we're facing, we are definitely going to be bringing the public to the table. Josh?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't going to say anything, but I appreciate you mentioning what you did. And, I've had one or two difficult projects in my district over the last couple of years, and we've got another maybe one or two coming up. And we had, and Public Works had, we had gotten the community together to have an early look at some of these things. And it's a balance that we try to strike, right? So if you engage early, we might not have all the answers quite yet. And when we're in front of the public, people will ask us and ask our staff questions, and we don't have the answers quite yet because we wanted to involve the public early. And so we look like we're hiding something when we're not, because we just don't know. We don't know yet. And we want to make sure people are coming along with us. And then contrast that to situations where we wait until we have all the information so that we can provide it and be able to answer the questions. And then when we go have a meeting that includes that type of detail, then people feel like we got ahead of them and we came at them late. So when we engage early, or whether we engage early or whether we engage late, it can be difficult sometimes. And we all try to do the very best we can. And I know this isn't a time for us to talk about the golf course, but I'd like to say one or two things about that, just because my daughters went to First Tee and have gone through that program. I used to live over there, as you know, in Newcastle, and I'm very familiar with the area. And that was a difficult situation for us in that we had, like the mayor said, a couple of folks who came to us with ideas. And we talked about that, as we usually do, around the table in closed session. We had questions and concerns and things. And by the time that kind of got brought back to us, there were kind of other interested parties who had other ideas. And from what I remember, without revealing closed session details, the only way for us to get that out into the public was through an RFP mechanism. And I think the public probably read that verbatim as a request for proposals, when in reality it was really a response to proposals, so that we could get it out from behind closed doors, and so that we could engage people and make sure that everybody knows that I think we all feel the golf course is an important part of this community, and it's one of the only places where you can actually go golf and not see a house. And it's a very valuable part of this community. So I just think that needed to be said out loud, that what we did, or at least my perception of what we did, was we were trying to be transparent, and we got lots of emails, and we've all been doing our best, I know, to respond to everybody and do that responsibly, and I think we're all here for the same reason at the end of the day.
Thank you. Okay.
So on council comments, correct? We won't meet in a couple of weeks, so because of that, I'm announcing that District 7 is having their first job fair. I'm going to have that at Kempsville Rec Center. That's going to take place December 20th. That's going to be at Kempsville Rec Center from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. The goal behind that is to give our district hope, right, going into the new year. If you're looking for a job, come to the rec center. If you have a job, but you want a better paying job, come to the rec center. My goal is to give not just, it's not going to be exclusive to District 7. If you come and you're from a different district, we welcome you too. But the goal is to give citizens hope that they're not alone. We are working hard behind the scenes, making sure that they have the jobs that they need to keep their families going because we care. So again, December 20th at Kempsville Rec Center from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Now, no tax dollars were used for this event. Make that clear. Disclaimer, right? This is just a community initiative that I felt was necessary to give our citizens hope going into 2026. I believe in Virginia Beach.
Great. Barbara?
Could either Mr. Duhaney or Mr. Stiles kind of give us a rough overview of how we are going to proceed now with this RFP? I know the comment time is over, so now what will happen? Do we have a time frame?
So I think, I don't know how many RFPs we got. We probably got about 3 or 4, if not more than that, right? Probably more than that, but staff is going to review the proposals in response to the RFP. VB National, yep, the VB National Golf Course. And then we're going to put that in a presentation form and then brief City Council in a closed session to seek direction from council in terms of where it wants to go. I anticipate if council wants to move forward with any of the proposals, council asks us to give a public briefing. And from there, council will give us direction in terms of what next steps look like. For council to make any kind of change to the current makeup of the RFP, it would require a public vote either from the city council and the VBDA or the city council. So we'll work all those details out depending on what we receive in terms of the nature of the proposal. But basically right now, staff is reviewing the proposals, and then we'll bring those proposals to city council in closed session for review and discussion. And depending on where council wants to go, we will proceed with either canceling the RFP or bringing something forward for public consideration. What's been clear from a staff standpoint from council is that this is to remain a publicly accessible golf course, and also first tee would be the lease terms of first tee will be honored regardless of where this goes or where we go next. Mark, is there anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay, that's good. Hey, Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Just have 2 things to share. The first is that I just want to just share that last week I had the privilege to attend the 2025 North American Summit Against Anti-Semitism. And it was a privilege, and it was an honor, and it was a great opportunity to glean more about the really terrifying landscape that includes discrimination and worse associated with anti-Semitism in America and around the world, and also learn about best practices, all centered around the notion that every single person, something we all believe and subscribe to, that every single person has the right and the expectation to live in safety and with dignity in their community, in their hometown. And I really want to say that based on what I learned, I feel Virginia Beach is in a very strong position. And largely that is credited with the leadership and advocacy of the Jewish community in Hampton Roads, the United Jewish Federation of Tidewater, the Simon Family JCC, Jewish Family Services, and all of the associated Jewish-led organizations that serve not only the Jewish community, but our entire community at large. Their leadership in partnership with the city's administration, our police department, federal partners, has, I think, put our community in a very strong position to be in a place to combat anti-Semitism as we have. We have not seen the most egregious examples of anti-Semitism that, at least that I'm aware of, that other communities are facing, but it's important to just pause and take inventory of where we are and contemplate where we'd like to be. And as I mentioned, I think we're in a strong position, but it's always important to learn. And I'm really grateful that I had the chance to do that. And in concert with what Councilman Green just noted, no taxpayer funds were used as part of that experience either. But I want to do everything I can to share what I learned with the community, and I will do that, and just encourage us to stand strongly against hate and discrimination in every form. And it was nice to focus on that last week.
Michael, thank you for doing that. That was really, a very great thing you did.
Well, it was a privilege. And also, I just want to say that, as we know, discrimination is connected. And there is no instance where a person or group who discriminates or projects hate onto one group are quick or concurrently project hate onto other groups. So it's incumbent upon us to stand strong and united against hate and discrimination wherever it exists. And as you know, maybe you were going to talk about this in a moment, Mayor, Virginia Beach was again recognized as the most caring city in the country. And I think that's a reflection of our values as caring people and as people who do stand against hate and discrimination. And I've seen that time and time again in the lifetime that I've lived here. So it was affirming and it was illuminating and it was very educational. So thank you. I also wanted to share that on December 17th, Councilman Cummings and I are co-hosting a town hall meeting along with Delegate Tata. Grateful that the city's budget director, the city treasurer, Lee Henderson, as well as the city real estate assessor will be joining that town hall on every topic, but with a specific focus on affordability. As you can see, it's a partnership, so there's no particular district focus. It's on December 17th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 at the Central Library.
Very good, thank you. Okay, Rosemary.
Well, on a light note, participated in the holiday parade on Saturday night, and it was really cold. It was really, really cold. And you know how these parades are, you have to line up about an hour and a half before you actually get started. So anyway, I really had the distinct honor to hang out with the Sheriff's Department and be with all the sheriffs. They came out, and they had their own Santa as well, and to be with them for the parade. As cold as it was incredible how many people came out. I mean, the streets were just packed with people. And I don't know if they had their own little personal heaters or what, but there were a lot of people out there and a lot of children and their pets, and very excited about the holidays coming. So it's kind of it was really nice and really helps put you in the spirit. So
Anybody else? Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was a great parade. Actually, people were sitting 3 blocks beyond the reviewing stand. It was that packed, and it was very good. The other thing is the manager and I on Friday had the opportunity to attend the Navy Marine Corps 250th celebration, and I was honored to be a speaker as the jarhead from New Jersey, mayor. And I'll tell you what, we are so proud of the military presence that we have not only in this nation, not only in the region, but what we have right here in Virginia Beach. I mean, you better believe that we are key element to national security in a very, big way. Rosemary and I quarterly attend meetings with both Oceana and Little Creek. And, once again, and then we get some very, very nice comments from, and went to a NATO reception, and there was a new 4-star admiral, and very complimentary to Virginia Beach, as a place that the military love to, live and have their families raised. And then once again, Michael said, once again, Wallet Hub, declared us the best, most caring city. And, one of the things we always say, Virginia Beach does get a lot of kudos. And I always say in a speech, it's really the people that live here, work here, have their businesses here, but also give their time, talent, and treasure. We have a plethora of groups, faith-based, non-faith-based, that just go out and help other people. And, I think that's why we are known as the smallest large city in the country. is the fact that people really care about other people. They care about their neighbors, they care about the elderly, the disabled, and there are so many organizations out there helping. But, once again, we are a great city. Okay, how about agenda review?
How about agenda review? So under ordinances and resolutions, we have no speakers. Does anybody have any issues with consent?
When you say, I'm trying to figure out my agenda because I only have half of an agenda. Ordinance for flood protection where we're doing transfers. I just want to make some comments about that. I don't know if you want to pull it, if there's not another speaker, but I do have some comments about these transfers. So I don't want this to get lost in the shuffle.
Can we make the comments at the end of the vote? And then pulling it?
At some point, I do want to make some comments because I'm real concerned about the transfers and how we're going to follow up.
Opportunity to speak after the vote.
Okay, after the vote. People are going to wonder why in the world I'm voting for it. Okay.
Under planning, Prosper Homes, District 9.
All good.
Number 2, Brian Patrick Mooney, District 9.
Also all good.
Number 3, District 6.
Consent, please.
Number 4, Stephen Alexander Holmes, District 2.
I've had no questions about that. It can be consent.
Number 9, Lynn Haven Station Condos, District 3.
Okay for consent?
6, Brianna Kreshny, Studio Citrine LLC, District 3.
I've received no communication about this or concerns raised to me, so that will be okay for consent as well.
Stephen Bruce, Regent University.
I am
District
abstaining. I have a letter on file.
District 7.
Yes, I received no constituents in concern for this consent agenda.
And number 8, Robert Mills, District 5, that's on consent. And number 9, the ordinance to amend section of the city zoning ordinance. Non-conforming.
I just want to make a question or a statement on number 9, because I have spoken with the city attorney about this as well as some of the folks in the city, because it is concerning to me when we give more power to the Board of Zoning Appeals versus ruling on this as a body on land use. And so I'm in agreement, I support this, but I just want to make that clear because it's can be questionable sometimes how much power we give away on land use versus an unelected but appointed body, the Board of Zoning Appeals.
That's it.
Vice Mayor, just one clarification. For ordinance number 15, that applicant is an ordinance for the Ashton Builders. They're requesting the withdrawal, so the consent will be to allow withdrawal, correct?
Which one is that?
Ordinance number 15, Ashton Builders, the bill on the Historic Review Board.
Yes.
The applicant's requesting withdrawal, so that's what the consent will be for, correct?
Thanks for the reminder.
Which item was that again?
15, the last one.
No, I'm saying, yeah.
It's on
On ordinances. You know, the one about the fences and that.
Okay, thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to recess into a closed session pursuant to the exemptions from open meetings allowed by section 2.2, 3711A Code of Virginia as amended for the following purposes. Public contract, discussions of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, discussion of terms of the scope of such contract, where the discussion in open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to section 2.2 3711A 29. One is the Project Prodigal Son. The other one is Project Periwinkle, and the other one is Project 1800. And then personnel matters, discussions, considerations, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body pursuant to section 2.23711A1, and that would be the city manager's contract. Okay. Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Councilmember Berluci?
Aye.
Councilmember Cummings is absent. Councilmember Henley? Councilmember Hutchinson?
Aye.
Councilmember Jackson Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Remick?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross Hammond?
Aye.
Councilmember Rouse? Councilmember Shulman?
Aye.
Mayor Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Dyer?
Aye. Okay, we are recessing to close. Everyone, I'm calling this meeting to order, and if you're all willing and able, please stand for the invocation. Heavenly Father, you are always with us and beside us. Be with us this evening as we consider the affairs of our great city. Give us the patience to listen, the wisdom to decide, and the strength to act. And if I may ask for a moment of silence for all of those who paid the ultimate price to protect our city and our nation. And the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have a roll call?
Yes, Your Honor, all present, excluding Councilmember Cummings.
Okay, do I have a motion to certify the closed session?
Second.
Okay.
Sorry, we had just an issue with the vote system, so we're going to do a verbal vote for certification of the closed session. I apologize. Councilmember Berluci?
Aye.
Councilmember, did we have a motion yet? We did, didn't we? We did. Sorry, Councilmember Cummings is absent. Councilmember Henley? Councilmember Henley, thank you. Councilmember Hutchinson?
Aye.
Councilmember Jackson Green? Councilmember Remick?
Aye.
Ross Hammond?
Aye.
Councilmember Rouse?
Aye.
Councilmember Shulman?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Dyer?
Aye.
By a vote of 10-0, you've certified the closed session to be in accordance with the motion to recess.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the informal and formal sessions of November 25th?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, open a vote, or got to do a verbal again?
1 second, we can open this vote.
Here we go.
The vote is open. Mayor Dyer, may I have your vote, please?
I'm trying.
Thank
There we
you.
go.
By a vote of 9-0 with Councilmember Berluci abstaining, you have approved the minutes as submitted.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this point, I think we can do the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and everything is on consent. And ordinance and resolutions, number 1 is the ordinance to designate as exempt from local property taxation, Ray Echoes of Healing. Number 2 is the ordinance to designate as exempt from the local property taxation, Ray the Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia. Number 3 is the ordinance to designate as exempt from local property taxes, Ray Maverick Learning Center. Number 4 is the ordinance to designate as exempt from local property taxes, Ray Philippine Nurses Association of Virginia. Number 5 is the ordinance to designate as exempt from local property taxes, Ray Protection Paws in Peril. Number 6 is the ordinance to designate as exempt from local property taxation, Ray Quality of Life Inc. Number 7 is the ordinance to designate as exempt from local property taxation, Ray the Micro Nonprofit Network Inc. Number 8 is the ordinance to amend the FY 2025-26 Capital Improvement Program, CIP, for flood protection. Number 9 is the ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute a lease of city-owned property for up to 5 years with Back Bay Wildlife Guild, Inc. at 1113 Atlantic Avenue, Ray DeWitt Cottage. Number 10 is the ordinance to direct the city manager to implement changes to oceanfront parking and to authorize within the Department of Public Works FY 2025-26 Parking Enterprise Fund operating budget, Ray full-time position, one full-time position. Number 11 is ordinance to amend section 21-322 and repeal section 21-323 of the city code, Ray metered parking. Number 12 is the ordinance to amend the city code section 21-230, Ray the traffic calming at Timberlake Drive. Number 13 is the ordinance to eliminate the local repayment obligation from various volunteer rescue squads for loans provided prior to November 2024. Number 14 is the resolution to adopt the 2025 disaster recovery plan. Number 15 is Ashton Builders 1 LLC for an appeal to the Historical Review Board decision to deny application certificate of appropriation, Ray 425-12, to install white vinyl fencing in the North Landing Estates development for the properties at 2508 to 2524 Peaceful Lane, District 2, and this is going to be for withdrawal.
Open a public hearing on planning.
Okay, number 1 is Prosper Homes and Investments LLC for variance to section 4.4B of subdivision regulations, Ray lot width and street line frontage at 2453 Beaufort Avenue, that is District 9. Second. Number 2 is Brian Patrick Mahoney and Amber Marie Mooney, for a change in nonconformity, Ray modify from elevation and roof at a raised roof deck and restraining walls and relocate mechanical equipment at 2618 West Chubb Lake Avenue, and that is in District 9. Number 3 is CESIB JB, the second LLC, for a modification of conditions to a conditional use permit, a short-term rental at 409 24th Street, and that is in District 6. Number 4 is Stephen Alexander Homes LLC at Princess Borough Development Company, Inc., for a conditional use of zoning from Ag 1 and Ag 2 Agriculture District to conditional R10 Residential District, Ray develop 14 single-family residence lots on the parcel south of 1925 Fisher Arch, and that's in District 2. Number 6 is Lynn Haven Station Condominiums Associates and Global Cinematic Society LLC and Harbor Investments LLC, Global Cinematic Society LLC and Harbor Investment LLC for a conditional change of zoning 0-2 Office District to conditional B2 Community Business District at 101 and 105 North Lynn Haven Road, and that's Unit 105, District 3. Number 6 is Brenana Cruzeri Studio Citrine LLC, Holland Office Park LLC for additional use permit, Ray Beauty Salon at 4510 Holland Office Park, and that is in District 3. Number 7 is Stephen Bruce at Regent University for a conditional use permit, Ray Indoor Outdoor Recreational Facilities to develop athletic and fitness duplex at 1328, 1352, 1354, 1418, 1424, and 1446 Regent University. And that's in District 7, and the Mayor Dyer will be abstaining. Number 8, Robert Mills, One Perfect Day LLC for a conditional use permit, raise short-term rentals at 303 Atlantic Avenue, Unit 1503, and that is in District 5. Number 9 is the ordinance to amend Section 105 of the city zoning ordinance pertaining to nonconformities. Move for approval.
We have a second. The reason, I have a letter with the city attorney on my reasons for abstaining on item 7. Okay, the vote is open.
By a vote of 10-0, you have approved the consent agenda as read by Vice Mayor Wilson, noting Mayor Dyer's abstention on planning number 7.
Okay, thank you. And Mrs. Henley, you have a comment.
Yes, I do have a comment about item 8 in our ordinances, which is the capital improvement program for flood protection. This has to do with transferring money in order to be able to make the projects of the Windsor Woods, Princess Anne Plaza, and the lakes be able to go to construction. Certainly, this is something that has to be done. There's no question about it. These neighborhoods were developed back in the 50s and 60s before the city council understood the flooding problems that we have in the city of Virginia Beach. And these neighborhoods were built and they flood and they have to be fixed. Even though we've got a difference of money available of over $400 million with these projects that were bond referendum projects. And now we have a shortfall. And in order to be able to make these projects go forward now, we have to transfer money from other projects that were also in the bond referendum that are just not ready to go to development at this time, and I can understand that. However, we don't have the same excuse that the city councils in 50s and 60s had, because we do know the flooding problems, particularly in the southern watersheds. And we do know that if we allow those areas to develop in ways that are not suitable, they're going to flood. And a future council is going to be sitting here doing the same thing we are, having to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to fix it. Well, we do know the difference. And like I say, we can't say we didn't. We've done the studies. We know what's going to happen. And it's incumbent on this city council to make certain that going forward in our land use decisions, we pay attention to our flooding studies that we have done, and that we know what's going to happen if we put things where they don't belong. We are having to transfer monies from some projects, particularly in the southern watersheds and in the beach area, to make up this difference. And I'm very concerned when people at Sandbridge and Newbridge Road, or the Stormwater Green Infrastructure areas, or the Punga Ferry Road projects, or the West Neck Creek projects, and then those oceanfront projects that were approved in the referendum, now that money is being transferred to be able to use it in these projects. And supposedly it's going to work out with the way the bonds come due and so forth, but sometimes things don't work out. And I'm going to ask that I am able to, every month at my district forum, make a report on these transfers and whether or not things are working out so that these projects are going to be done. Because we can't have people in those areas whose projects were also on the bond referendum and now say, well, I guess our projects won't get done because that money has been transferred. It's not supposed to happen. We're supposed to be able to work it out, but I want to make sure we do. And I want to make sure that we make monthly reports to the people, particularly in the southern watersheds, that their projects will be done in a timely fashion. And thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could, I'd just like to take a moment to express gratitude to the council and to the city staff, and I think probably certainly most importantly to the Windsor Woods, Princess Anne Plaza, Lakes community, who have been fierce and strong advocates for flood protection in District 3 and in our neighborhoods for years, in particular since Hurricane Matthew in 2016. The prioritization here and the bundling reflects what is an emergent and very important priority to protect more than 30,000 households in those neighborhoods that were impacted by Hurricane Matthew in 2016 and continue to be impacted to this day. We only needed to be reminded by the storm that occurred on September 16th of this year, the impact that flooding can have on our lives and on our neighborhoods, and also the trauma that it imposes upon the families who experience that flooding. And the bundling here and the prioritization reflects, one, the economic reality that we're living in and the inflationary pressures on the bond referendum and flood protection projects. It also reflects our entire, and when I say our community, I mean the neighborhoods, the civic leagues, the individuals who are flood advocates, the council, the professional staff, who have all come together in solidarity to support those families and those households. And I don't want this moment of passing this on the consent agenda to go by without just taking a moment to pause and acknowledge the import of this vote tonight and the really excellent way our community came together to support those neighborhoods and ensure that we're doing everything we can do with the with rapidity to ensure that we're taking all measures to protect homes, but most importantly to protect life and as well property in those neighborhoods. So I just want to thank all involved.
And Mr. Bellucci, thank you for being a steadfast champion for your district and taking care of a very, very high priority need. Okay, at this point, any appointments?
Yes. Yes, we have one, Mr. Mayor. That's the Military Economic Development Advisory Committee would like to appoint Vanessa Christie. Move for approval.
Okay.
One second. We're trying to get the vote system to open. We're going to have to do a verbal vote again. I'm sorry, we're having issues. Councilmember Bellucci?
Aye.
Councilmember Cummings is absent. Councilmember Henley? Aye. Councilmember Hutchison? Councilmember Jackson Green? Aye. Councilmember Remick? Aye. Councilmember Ross Hammond? Aye. Councilmember Rouse? Aye. Councilmember Schulman?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Dyer?
Aye.
By a vote of 10-0, you have appointed those as read by Vice Mayor Wilson.
Okay, any old business? Any new business? Thank you all and have a great Christmas season and a Happy New Year.